Good morning. This is your neighbor Angelo coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. Wishing you well wherever you are around the world. And thanks for watching and thanks for sharing your time this morning with me. In Las Vegas currently we are a little bit cloudy. The weather is nice and friendly. Possibly rain. I'm looking through my window. Here, have a nice view. As you can see, one of the most important story that has been going on for more than a few months, Iranian oil tanker with 1.2 million barrels of oil is floating, question mark, that possibly nowhere, or you folks who are my age, no insult, okay? Just a joke, who are my age, remember, Exxon Valdez accident from the drunken captain who landed in Alaska and polluted million miles of ocean and destroyed the environment, natural environment that cannot be recovered for the next 1,000 years. I truly believe, folks, that Paris, Washington, Berlin, London, and Tehran, and Moscow must be held accountable, and Beijing. I mean, for the leaders of this country who we look up to lead our world and our future and our each day to a better tomorrow. This ship, this tanker, Andrea, they call it, Andrea Dorios, something like that, if I may recall. It's a ticking time bomb. And there is a 2.1 million barrels of oil sitting on it, in it. And if you folks sitting at home and believe that somebody don't have or somebody don't wish a bad health to this ship in the Mediterranean coast, I think you're sick on your head. And I don't think you understand the politics, and I don't think you understand the way politicians are thinking. And I don't think that this will be an accident like usual accident that is, God forbid, happen down on the street, a bumper hitting on a red light that you are late to work or late to meet a friend for a coffee. Or you were texting on your phone. This is a political and strategical problem that is involved many countries around the world. And that's mean I will go one who play major role and one on some of the country who don't play major role, but also they are big consumers of oil, this energy that we cannot live without, at least for now. That's India, China, all of Europe, Western and Eastern, and United States practically hold all of the world, folks. And the major players right now for this ship, for this tanker, that don't wish well to this tanker, it's Iran himself, Israel, Syria, Turkey, US, Russia, UK, Paris, and London. Now you may think, what do I know about politics and strategies? Well, let's say I've been involved in this for a while. And if you want to start a fight with a nation like Iran, you must provoke it to act. Because all these countries that I have mentioned, somehow they have their interest in mind. And their interest in mind is not yours and mine as the citizens of the, let's say, each nation or the world. These people think for their political purpose and how they're going to engrave their name from this respective office that they're holding right now. The chance is very good to engrave their name in one of the, let's say, mountains in their respective countries. And that's mean in stone. They think by provoking Iran in a major war that the world problems will be solved. Well, we thought that, folks, during the Great War in 1918, 1917, then moving all the way down to 1930, then moving down to 1941, then moving down to the Korean Wars, then moving down to the Vietnam War, then moving down to Afghanistan War and Russian War, then moving down to the fall of the Berlin Wall, breakdown of the Soviet Union and the chaos in the world. I won't go on Israeli and Palestinian and another world a war, because that was always skirmish, small war, and we always made a big thing out of it. But nevertheless, it was war, and lives, many of thousands of lives were lost. Then, folks, we went to the revolution of Iran, and Paris helped out Ayatollah Khomeini to overthrow Shah of Iran. From there, we were again nothing but downhill. It was Yemen war, splitting of Yemen. Then was war in Somalia. Then Zaire and Zimbabwe. Then war in Yugoslavia, breakup of Yugoslavia. Then war between Armenia and Azerbaijan. My God. Bear with me, folks. Just bear with me. 50 years of Panama War between FARC and Colombia's rebels and Panamanian rebels. 50 years of that guerrilla war. Nicaragua war. Reagan Grenada invading. Wow. Philippines and Abu Sayyaf war for the last 70 years between the guerrillas and Mindanao. Indonesia in East Timor. Well, let's say that they forgot anybody. 2 major wars for 20 years. Then that tragic, dreadful day of 9/11. US invasion of Afghanistan, and then invasion of Iraq, bombing of Yugoslavia, Rwanda, 500,000 people massacred by machetes, not by guns, by machete and a kitchen knives in 3 months. Now, if you cannot comprehend that kind of war, dreadful and bloody war with machetes, 500,000 being butchered in 3 months, if you cannot put that in your head as a human and say like this, that was a human disaster and a killing of almost 9,000 people and men and boys and children in Yugoslavia, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, being cold-blooded massacred in Srebrenica. I don't know what can make you think that our world is a ticking time bomb and our world is in trouble. And we as a humans, as a men and women of this world, are doing nothing to stop it. In fact, we are throwing, every one of us in some way have thrown a can of gasoline or a liter or a gallon of gasoline on that small fire to make sure it doesn't extinguish. And that is pretty sad. Now, all of this said, folks, all of these bad things said, and there was absolutely no fake news in this, and there is absolutely no collusion in this, as our president says. I'm only saying that anything is possible in the Middle East. I mean, anything. And if you doubt me, just look to history. Now, I'm not going to exclude the rest of the world and say like this, okay, the Middle East is only a bad place in the world. I can only say the Middle East probably could be one of the most prosperous places in this planet, because the resources they have can make that possible. Although there are two obstacles over there. They are politicians, local and national. Consider this as one. They are prime ministers, and they are presidents, and they are kings. But in their mind, they are all kings. And they consider themselves like a David of Judea or Israel in the days when he became a king. And suddenly become powerful as God. And whatever he said goes. Well, in the Middle East, folks, these days, in the last 80 years, or 100 and some years, it's been like that. Too many Davids, too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Or not enough courageous Indians to stand up to the chiefs. And where is no accountability, that means things are not run smooth. That means one man is overloaded with the responsibility, and when there is no questions asked on that daily responsibility, in time he thinks that he is the one who does the right thing at all the time. And then if anybody's dare to say anything, he get punished. In the Middle East today, you are not allowed to say anything, you get punished. There is no freedom of the press, there is no freedom of the speech, there is no freedom of religion, there is no freedom of movement. There is a political oppression, and there is a poverty and a hunger in every single country. There is a slogan here in America, so it is God bless America. And we say that all the time, God bless America. And I always say after that, don't worry, no need to mention that. God have already blessed America without you saying it. But what about the rest of the world? What happened to the rest of the world? Have God forgotten the rest of the world? Well, let's say all the things that I mentioned before at the beginning of the show, our program, yours and mine. I think even if a God existed in a human body, and if he travels, let's say flying, driving, or on railroads, or he's some kind of has his own spaceship. And if any of you know his route in the near future, perhaps you should take the opportunity and give him a call and tell him to stop in here on our planet and see if he can divert disaster that we are on the road as humans. We are taking this planet to the one-way trip to hell. Folks, call you politicians anywhere in the world, in your country, in your county, in your town, in your state, in your kingdom, and tell them not to play the Russian roulette with this Iranian tanker with the 2.1 million barrels of oil. If that something happened to that ship, we should hold accountable all these leaders around the world that we have mentioned in our program. They should be responsible, including Israelis. Because right now, they're the one that can stop that ship and bring it to Haifa over there and unload it. And then send the empty ship to Iran. Process the oil and charge him for the fuel, processing and everything, and give the rest of the money to some kind of charity of Iranian government or who cares. But stop the possible disaster, ecological disaster that can happen to Mediterranean Ocean and can affect all the Mediterranean countries over there, from Tunis and Morocco to Egypt, to Israel, to Lebanon, to Greece and Turkey, Italy, Albania, Montenegro, Yugoslavia, France and Spain. I mean, every single country can be affected. What's wrong with you freaking people? I mean leaders. What is wrong with you? Don't worry about your freaking name. When you are out of that office, nobody will freaking remember who you are or what, even that you were over there. And I don't care how many monuments, Rushmore monuments will be built here in my country of America, United States of America. They are every 1,000 person don't even never even heard for Mountain Rushmore. And I'm not going to tell you what that is. Go and Google around. Thanks to Google, maybe you can find out what that is. We must take this serious. This oil tanker must be stopped and must go. It doesn't matter which country, but must be unloaded and emptied. You don't want an accident to happen over there. And there are too many crazy people that they will do anything and everything to do something that they can cause a total ecological disaster. This is your world and my world and our children's world, our grandchildren's world, for God's sake. Are we all crazy? That we don't care if we won't be tomorrow alive, that sun should not shine for the generation left behind? Then we don't deserve the place and time that we spend on this planet, great, beautiful planet of ours. Shame of us all. I mean, really. Shame on us all. I see this crazy guy in Israel, and this butcher in Syria, and I won't exclude these crazy people in Iran, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates, and those Gulf countries, and this criminal in Egypt. All those leaders, let's just say that I don't really blame you guys that I mentioned, I mean leaders. I blame the freaking stupid people. They don't rise and overthrow you and put you on a freaking stick and burn you in the middle of the street. But then, the way mentality of the people so far is, probably somebody will take over after you guys that will be worse than you. So there is a hardly hope, at least for now, as the way I see it, for a better tomorrow for that part of the world. Or in fact, for most of the part of South America here on my continent of America, America's continent, South and North. I have bombed up the rest of the whole world, but my homeland, United States of America, to now on this program. We are not immune from such a political problems and daily problems and daily tragedies and greed and quarreling and immediate family problems, and the world is full of problems, but all these problems, folks, are solvable. If we stop, if we stop and think, all of these problems are solvable. Nothing is without, no problem that arises in life cannot be solved. It all can be solved. The way it arrives, the way it can go. It's a matter of time, and it depends how much time you want to give to that problem and how much attention you want to give to that problem to solve it. I will just give you an example in Texas, what happened just a couple of days ago. A young man, 25, 30 years old, got stopped for a traffic violation, for a signal violation. And that signal violation, folks, leads to 5 dead men and 32 wounded, as I can recall. Badly wounded. Now you tell me if that is not tragedy, or if that is not society in depression, a mental depression, if that is not a society that needs help, if that is not society that needs the care and attention for the profession, from the professional people and also from the family members. Everything starts in your household, folks. Just like a headache. Headache doesn't start random, okay? or a high blood pressure or a fever. It has a symptoms, folks, okay? Or it's from too much drinking previous night, or having a bad and spicy food, or a old food, or a drinking bad water, or a bad glass of milk, or you're dehydrated, or you have a quarrel with your wife, with your brother, with your father, with your mother, misunderstanding, and you didn't know how to ease that tension, or quarreling and yelling and screaming, and then you got headache, and you want outside, want in a car, and you become a time bomb, or get an accident and kill somebody innocent, or kill yourself, or pull the gun on a person that was standing next to you and waiting on a red light to turn green so he can go on his way to his family, and perhaps he just look at you and you took it wrong and you start shooting randomly and killing innocent people as this guy did. This is not just a one incident, folks. This is time and time again happening in my country. So my country is not immune from problems and tragedies. My country is also on two major wars around the world for the last 21 years. That's Iraq and Afghanistan, and we have troops all over Africa, all over Pacific Islands, South America. And we are practically on some kind of shooting war on every single continent. And we want to go to Greenland. My president wants to go to Greenland, wants to buy the Greenland so he can turn it into a shooting gallery. A peaceable shooting gallery for practicing, or a shooting gallery between two major power, Russia and my country, United States of America. And that will involve probably Europe and Canada, and we will be on World War III. So if my presidents think that if Denmark sells or gives 32,000 native Indians to the United States on one of the biggest piece of land that probably has one of the richest mineral resources in the world today, under that 2 miles thick ice, I believe is over 2 miles, 2.5 miles. I think you are out of your freaking mind. Russia will not let that happen. They made one mistake already by letting NATO expand after the George Bush Sr. promise with the Dick Cheney and all the other cronies that we have in our government then, that NATO will not expand after the Berlin Wall and after Russia broke apart, Soviet Union broke apart. We want, and we included in NATO Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Poland, Romania, Hungary, Bulgaria, and we want on Albania, Slovenia, Czechoslovakia, Slovakia, We want to include Moldova, but Russia just say enough is enough. We want for Ukraine, but Russia say it's not, so we provoked a civil war over there. We thought that will bring it into the NATO. We provoked a civil war in Georgia, Armenia. Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, all the Caucasus Russian former republics. I think, folks, that we, European Union and United States, have put Russia to a corner, that she has no choice but to react. We thought she's weak. She was weak conventionally, militarily, but she still had over 30,000 nuclear warheads. So we didn't attack to conquer them, which that would be a stupid thing to do. Russia hasn't threatened the world to invade the world. Russia don't need to invade the world. Russia has enough mineral resources, enough wealth for the next 1,000 years. That there is no need for her to attack anybody. Although having political influence around the world, it would help to have, just like we have two superpower, United States and Russia, then Soviet Union, to keep the check and balances on the rest of the crazy world, an unstable world. The world was safe. Today, the world is in total chaos. I mean chaos. And I have said that on a day of the fall of the Berlin Wall, that we will regret that we have dismantled the Soviet Union. I can care less how you call the Soviet Union, capitalist, socialist, communist, neo-communist, neo-Nazis, fascist. I can care less the name. I know that two powers, that was Soviet Union and United States of America, have kept the world in peace. What happened after that? Even as we are talking today, people are dying in the hundreds in Europe. European war, civil war. And that war neither is controllable, neither is detainable politically or militarily. It can get out of hand at any time. And then you have Syria war that, again, now the Russia, United States, and Israel and Iran are involved, and Europe wants to play the role, which is France and England, and the rest of them want no part of it, but they have no choice but to be there. Persian Gulf countries and Saudi Arabia and Egypt, they are still hoping they are allied with the right guy. And that's mean United States, and now their supervisor that is working for United States, Israel. I will say the manager, a problem-solving manager that we think is a strategical partner, and I think is not a strategical partner, but is a strategical problem for us, United States. We don't need Israel as a manager, as our strategical manager, neither as our strategical partner. We can solve our own problems only if we think right. Now, this thing is a powder cake, just like on one of those Spanish galleon ships that they have traveled from South America or American continent to Spain and have a bunch of powder over there, and one of those shipmates gets crazy from the confined space and sets the ships on a blaze and fire and explosion. And that I call a powder keg that is about to explode in Middle East. China. China is economical power as now. Only manufacturer power. And India is a bookkeeping power. Malaysia, Indonesia, and Philippines and Pacific Islands are textile powers. United States and Europe are consumption powers. We produce all the high tech in Europe and United States, Taiwan and Hong Kong, and Shenzhen in China, Shenzhen, city of Shenzhen in China, and the rest of the world. Folks, you might call it a third step below of this part of the world that I just have mentioned. So this small group of people in this part of the world that I have mentioned, of high-tech people, let's not forget the Canada, including Canada. Such a small number of people control everything that's happening to you and me every single day. We must not forget, and you must not have any illusion that these people care for you. These people just care, they care to make those shoes and to make those daily appliances that you need for every day to function as a human with you and your family. Those wear and tears should not last too long, so you can purchase more, so you can stack some more dollars on a bank account and on a safe deposits. Let's say so he can be a billionaires or trillionaires or triple trillionaires without realizing that he cannot freaking spend that, neither take it to his grave. And this does not give him immunity from that, no matter how much money he has. Or this will not give him immortality. Let's say, to use that fancy word, immortality. I will call it immunity in a little bit softer terms. So no one is immune from that. I don't care, rich or poor. And nobody need more space than the link of his body. And I don't care how you carve your coffin, from the stone, lead, a copper, or aluminum, or just a plywood, or nothing else but a white piece of sheets, bad cover sheets. You will never know how you go, with the shoes on or as you were born without shoes. So who gives a damn? It's all the same. Sooner or later, even that I am not a religious person, but they say we will all meet our judge and perhaps have to answer some questions. And over there is I think, don't take this as guarantee, but I doubt it if they have over there Fifth Amendment. So you plead fifth, you don't have to answer. Or perhaps there is a fifth at the moment that you take the last breath. And you cannot give anymore. Answer or take one. But whatever circumstances that is, there is only one thing, and that is to do the right thing on this planet and leave the world safer and healthier for the generation after you. And that is a responsibility of every one of us as a human beings. Perhaps we should think that has been engraved in us to understand and to try to do and achieve that through the time of the beginning of humanity. It would be good to reflect on that. And in this note, I will leave you and wish you a good day, and thanks for sharing your time with me. Please, if you like what you hear and if you like what you see, comment and let us know what you think. Till the next time.